Welcome back to Echo Base Network, guys. I'm your host, Nick, and today I'm joined by none other than Matt Rissman himself. How's it going, Matt? How you doing, brother?
I am doing real well. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So, guys, I brought Matt in to kind of give a little bit of a breakdown on this because he's in the financial, market, and I am not. So he probably has a little bit better understanding of all this stuff. I did talk to Valiant Renegade earlier about all this as well, but looks like Disney released the vote tallies from the shareholder meetings, the official tallies. Variety posted this article, and Nelson Peltz received 31% of shares voted for him, and then the Trian nominee Jay Rasulo got 12%. But the article goes on to say Disney released the official vote counts from its 2024 meeting of shareholders held April 3rd, in which investors decisively defeated a campaign by activist investor Nelson Peltz. You know, I hate when they do that. Activist investor. He is a large investor in this company, and he's tired of seeing his portfolio stock numbers go down. He wants Disney to go back to being a for-profit company. So the activist investor thing, it just whatever. But anyways, according to the vote totals disclosed in a SEC filing Tuesday, 9 of the 12 Disney-backed director candidates received more than 90% of the shares voted in their favor. The highest totals received by Disney's two newest directors appointed last November, Morgan Stanley executive chairman James Gorman and former Sky CEO Jeremy DeRoche and former Cisco and Google exec Amy Chang. Disney CEO Bob Iger, as previously reported, received 94% of shares voted in favor of his reelection to the board. How can anybody vote for this guy still? But anyways, the three Disney nominees with the lowest vote totals for the reelection were the two incumbent directors targeted by Peltz Trian Partners for removal. And the article goes on just to kind of talk about that. But let's get into the juicy stuff, the actual numbers here. And these are the for and the against, and then the percentage, and then we got all the names here. And these are all the Disney nominees, which of course they had the majority of people on that side, then the two Trian nominees, and then the Blackwell nominees, which are pretty much insignificant, sitting at 2%. But Peltz with 31%, Rasulo with 12, Iger with 94, and a lot of these other Disney board members, all in the 90s. Again, I personally was not expecting Peltz to win this thing. I mean, I had my fingers crossed, hoping he was going to be able to pull it off, but I never had any expectation that it was actually going to happen. Matt, thoughts on all this and all these numbers? You've looked this over, and what are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, a little confusing, right? So I think the way this one works is basically the ballot comes out. People who are voting are given the opportunity to vote either for or basically withhold their vote. And what you see here are for each of the nominees, just a percentage breakdown, right, of the people who voted for versus the total votes that were possible to cast for these candidates. And I mean, for me, I don't know that I'm super surprised at the results. I will say the two people that Peltz looks like was targeting, they did get the lowest amount of percentages.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was interesting. The chairman also was right down there as one of the lower ones. But on the point you made, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure Peltz would have liked to win, right? But I think they wanted to prove that they could shake it up, that they were here. They wanted to make some noise. They totally did that.
Yeah.
And I think some of the funny business that we saw going on during this, right, with leaked vote tallies and different things that are no-nos, right, as the voting is going on, to me, that sort of shows Disney was a little nervous here, right, in regards to all of this, and just feeling, I'm sure, that, if Peltz or Rasulo, who obviously has history with the company, got onto the board, they probably see it as disruptive, right? This goes to your activist
Yeah.
comment, right? Which is the establishment? The establishment always sees the quote unquote usurpers as the activists, right? Whereas those of us externally, see those usurpers as the ones that's trying to infuse the new life into the process and to bring new
Yeah.
things to bear. So just a different perspective. But yeah, I'm not super surprised at the results, but I definitely think it shows, a few chinks in the armor here from a Disney perspective.
Yeah, and so Peltz, after all this was over and done with, he basically said, "We'll see if Iger holds to his promises, but basically you'll see me again. They'll go through this process again, and if the company continues to go on a downward spiral and keeps losing money in the stock, I don't know how bad it has to get, other than where it's at right now, for people to be like, okay, this isn't working. We got to get people out of here and give some other people a chance to get in here and maybe try to turn this thing around." Do you know by chance how often they do this? Is this like is it like politics where they do these votes every 4 years, or how long does this go for?
I think this was listed as an annual vote of the shareholders, right? So
So,
I'm
so they
pretty
could come
sure
back
it's
and do this
yearly.
again next year.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure they do this once yearly.
Okay, well, that's good. So I guess we'll see what happens in the next year. Me personally, I'm not projecting Disney stock to skyrocket and for the company to be turned around at all. I think they're still going to be pushing the message out there in all the different forms of all the different spaces that Disney owns, with ABC, ESPN, Disney, Disney Plus, Lucasfilm, all that. But I don't know, we got a year to see what happens. We'll see what Iger does. I'm sure we're going to get more of the same. Any final thoughts on this, Risman?
Disney's got to put out some stuff that we love, right? If they want the
Yeah.
stock to go up, board of directors aside, they need to put some stuff out there that brings the magic back into the reasons why people enjoy Disney content. And I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah, because right now, looking at what's on the slate, I don't see anything in the works or that's coming up that's going to really be able to turn this thing around. Do you?
No, and I mean, again, I'm primarily interested in the movies and what they're doing in the
Yeah.
parks and some of the things that they're obviously very consumer and very, very public. If you think about what's coming in the next year or so, they're going to have to work at it. They're really going to have to work at it and show a bit of a turnaround here, I think, to become, in my opinion, more mainstream again and a little less leaning one way or the other to really attract and bring back, I think, the broad appeal that Disney once had, if that's even still possible.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. One of these ways, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys think Iger in the board is going to be able to turn this thing around? Or do you think we're going to get more of the same? I am on the side of the latter, obviously. But I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. As we always say here, you are Echo Base Network. Until the next one, guys, we'll see you later.
See y'all.